What would our society be like if violence is normalized and there is no practical repercussions or compensations for victims? The media plays a significant role in forming our consciousness and disseminating information that impacts our cognition and perception of the world. A typical American teen will have watched 20,000 hours of television and film by the time they are seniors in high school, and a large portion of these feature violence. This violence portrayed in media is especially pervasive. In a standard action movie or TV series, heroes frequently engage in violent behaviors to resolve conflict and serve for the common good. Movies often consider violence acceptable in the appropriate circumstances and for the right reasons. Thus, violence is portrayed as justifiable in the media. In this video, we will analyze how media violence can desensitize people to violence in the real world. So, what is desensitization, and what causes desensitization of violence? Desensitization is defined as the reduction of cognitive and emotional response to stimuli. Media experts have extensively studied how exposure to violent media results in desensitization of violence. Desensitization to violence develops when the repeated exposure to violent images in media lessens the initial impact until these images stop evoking the normal response. The General Aggression Model, GAM, a framework for understanding aggression, suggests that the repeated exposure to media violence can lead to the development of aggressive beliefs, aggressive behavioral scripts, and desensitization to violence. In other words, the constant exposure to violence on media causes us to normalize violent behaviors. So then, what are the consequences of desensitization to violence? Desensitization to violence is linked to an increase in aggressive behaviors. In entertainment media such as violent video games, violence is often portrayed as justified and enjoyable. In this type of violence, the behavior demonstrated does not show the realistic impact, and the true consequences are often disregarded. This unrealistic media perspective could desensitize children to the real consequences of violence and may result in children's increased tendency for aggressive behavior. Furthermore, desensitization and the normalization of violence can lead to a lack of empathy and insensitivity to the pain and suffering of others. Think about your immediate reaction to a significant tragedy, such as the Taliban attack, the 9/11 terrorist attack, or a school shooting. It is common to have an angry, sad, or sympathetic reaction to the event. However, people who are desensitized to violence may view this tragedy as normal and irrelevant. Due to their constant exposure to violence on the media, there is a diminished presence of those common emotional reactions triggered by the tragedy. Multiple prior experiments have shown that desensitization can lead to aggression. Male college students' reactions to violent, neutral, and non-violent stimuli were examined by Bartholow, Bushman, and Sester using the P3 amplitude. The P3 amplitude is responsive to stimuli that activate the aversive motivational system, which plays a prominent role in driving individuals to exert cognitive control. The researchers reported that viewing violent imagery while playing video games was linked to a reduction in P3 amplitude. A smaller P3 response to violent images indicates weaker activation of aversive motivation. Thus, the researchers concluded that this reduced brain response predicted increased aggressive behavior in a subsequent competitive reaction times task. Strangely enough, harmful impacts of media violence on adolescents and children have been primarily emphasized on entertainment media, while real-life violence presented in news and broadcasts were less highlighted. However, it's important to note that exposure to media violence will not always desensitize everyone. The differences that vary between individuals may increase or decrease the chances of desensitization to violence.